What's up, Pursuing Jesus family? It is so good to be back with you on another week of the Pursuing Jesus podcast.
Hello.
You just...
What?
I don't know.
It was like an ad lib.
It was great. It was great. No, it was fine. You said hello. There's nothing wrong with what you just did.
Why did you react that way, Sean?
Because I wasn't expecting it.
Dude, you got to work on your podcast technique if you attempt to record with two people and you get surprised when the other person says something.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, were you monologuing? Is that what's going on here?
No, I was actually reaching the end of what I was planning on saying, and my brain was like, "Where do we take this next?" And then you helped,
and I said hello.
You said
Is
hello.
Is it me you're looking for? I can see it in your eyes. I can see it in your smile.
I don't want to look at your eyes anymore. You're making me uncomfortable. But when you did sing it, the first thing I thought of was Trolls.
I actually have never seen Trolls.
Oh, well, it's good. Like I say, it's not something like, oh my gosh, how dare you? Like, it's fine.
It's not like you haven't seen The Lord of the Rings.
It's got good music. It does have good music.
Okay, good music can absolutely carry a film, though. Like a hot take here. Interstellar. Have you seen Interstellar?
It's been a minute, but yes, I've seen the movie.
Would be an incredibly slow, dry movie if Hans Zimmer hadn't wrote a banger of a soundtrack.
Yeah,
relies heavily on church organ, incidentally. Like a lot of the sounds you hear are.
But I think it's like the epicness of that movie, and it kind of needs those epic sounds.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. Well, Sean, I always have a weird fact or a strange question for you to start off.
No, really? Is that what you do?
Don't give me that. I don't need that today. Okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm not caffeinated enough for this.
It is Monday. It is Monday for us,
dude. They happen the same time every week.
No, we've been recording on Tuesdays. We've had a whole day in the office, a whole 2 days in the office because we would record at the end of the day Tuesday. But now we're recording on a Monday, and so
we're just
it's a little different.
It's a little different. We're resetting.
Got a case of the Mondays.
I don't know that either.
Okay, what's your fact?
Have you heard of Pando?
Pandas? Yeah, pandas are really cute. They're black and white little bears. I've seen them in a zoo.
I will mute you.
Oh, not panda. That's not what you said.
Pando. Pando.
So is that a male panda?
No, it is not. But I appreciate the throwback to Spanish word endings for now.
I don't know what a pando is, man.
So the pando is the largest living organism ever by weight in the whole world.
Is this trees?
This is trees, but it is a tree. So Pando is the name of a quaking aspen clone near Sevier County, Utah, in like the Fish Lake National Forest. It is a single organism, all interconnected, genetically identical forest that all shares roots that literally stretches over 106 acres. It's a single organism.
So I'm pretty sure this was featured on like one of those National Geographic Discovery, like Blue Planet documentaries that were really big, like a number of years ago. Because I guess when you started talking, I was like, I remember heard something about trees and like they're connected, and so I do know what pando is. I just didn't know what it was called.
Yeah, it's a male panda.
Thank you.
No, I had never heard about it, and as I was like doing some research on like cool wildlife things, it came across my feed, and I was like, "This is incredible!" Like, it's one living organism. Because like the question that I got it from was like, "What is the biggest living animal?" And I assumed it was like a humpback whale or something. And those bad boys weigh tons and tons and tons. And then it was like, no, that's not it. And it's like, okay, well, is it like a dinosaur? Like we're assuming by the fossils how big it was. Like, no, dude, it's a forest. Except for it's all one big tree connected through roots.
It's really cool.
Very, very cool.
Very Avatar-esque.
Very Avatar-esque. Earth, wind, fire, water.
Not from that Avatar. Not the one you referenced.
You're talking about the blue people Avatar.
Yeah, because like the whole planet's interconnected. And
aren't we all? Speaking of, so one thing I found that was really interesting about Pando is the way that it actually sustains itself. So it's a forest, right? And so fires are a thing. And so if part of the forest is destroyed, as it has been by fires, the other parts of the tree respond not like separate trees, but a little bit like our bodies respond to when we have a cut. Like it sends resources from other parts of the untouched forest into the burned parts to heal it and sustain it.
That's really cool.
It is cool. And I couldn't help but think, as I thought about, different parts of the forest sustaining the parts that need sustenance, I couldn't help but think of the first part of John 15. Because, he is the vine and we are the branches. And if we're cut off from the life source, we would die. Just like if one single tree from Pando was separated, put into a different part of the park, or even just cut off by nature somehow, not being connected to the whole would mean it running out of its resources.
Okay, so I understand the transition you're doing. And
it was so smooth.
It was really good. But now I want to go back to the science of this.
Okay.
Because you just said something I wasn't even thinking about. And I don't know if is this true? So because it's a forest.
It's a forest.
So we see visually separate trees.
Yes.
But they are connected. But one of these trees cannot live by itself.
Cannot live by itself.
Really?
Yep.
See, now there's a fact I didn't know.
You can specifically like give it the nutrients that it exactly needs.
Right, like you could uproot it and try to plant it somewhere else and do all the stuff you're supposed to do.
It was made to exist as part of it. Would be like cutting off a small chunk of our cells and setting it on the counter. It'll live for a while, which is freaky in and of itself, but then it dies.
Yeah.
Pando.
Vine.
It works.
Man, that's really cool.
Thank you. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to land these into our text for today.
Well, you are landing on a passage that is near and dear to my heart. It is
near and dear.
Yeah. So someone, I don't even remember who now, but it was years ago. Years ago when I was a young college student, someone preached.
That was years ago.
So long ago. John 15. Someone preached John 15.
Yeah.
And it impacted me.
Mm-hmm.
I had the way he described Jesus and abiding with Jesus and breaking down this illustration that Jesus did. It impacted me. Yeah. And it impacted me so much that when I came here and we were trying to figure out the direction of our ministry, this was the passage that I went to help direct us in what we were going to do as a student ministry. And it became our theme verse 5 specifically.
Thus united.
Yeah.
So what are some of the pieces of this text? And we should probably read it. It's a short little bout of text here.
It goes pretty far because it flows into the love and all that. But
this is part of Jesus' farewell discourse.
Yeah. Yeah, and we were talking about that off mic a little bit earlier of, this section of scripture right in here, especially here in John, is so powerful because we know reading this that Jesus knew his time with his disciples was short.
Right.
And the things that he talks about in the upper room and then in 15 and 16 and as he's going on, it's like, okay, he is leaving these disciples with these nuggets of gold.
Yeah, you open your Bible and throw a dart to anywhere on the page, and it's like, okay, these 2 verses are a sermon.
And especially when I opened it up and we were looking at the passages that we could cover for this week's podcast, and you're looking at all of this from John 14 and then going into John 15 a little bit, is like, man, this every day we could record a 30-minute podcast for this week because it is just such good stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what was your question? I went off on a tangent.
Well, I said that we should read it, and then I was going to ask about what makes this chunk of passage so incredible.
Cool. So you want to read it, and then I'll talk about the passage a little bit, and we'll kind of bounce off each other.
Here to beat the illiteracy allegations. Here I go. John 15, 1-8. If you're following along in your book, this is from August the 20th. Jesus says, I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away. And every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, so that it may bear more fruit. Already you are clean because of the word I have spoken to you. Abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit by itself unless it abides in the vine, neither can you, unless you abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me and I in him, he it is that bears much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. If anyone does not abide in me, he is thrown away like a branch and withers. The branches are gathered, thrown into the fire, and burned. If you abide in me and my words abide in you, ask whatever you wish, and it will be done for you. By this my Father is glorified, that you bear much fruit and so prove to be my disciples.
So here's why this impacted me so much.
Yeah.
These verses. Because I remember as a young Christian, I was familiar with this. I remember going through college or at some point and learning about the I am statements of Jesus. You know, those are found in John. I think there's 7 or 8 of them. I can't remember. So either it was one of those. And he makes these I am statements where he uses a symbolism to describe who he is. Here he's talking about I am the vine.
Yeah.
And there's different ones. He talks about I am the bread of life. I am the door. I am the resurrection. And so there's all these different statements, and they're only recorded in John. And so I remember when I read this one as a very, very young Christian, I got down to the end, verse 8. My Father is glorified by this, that you produce much fruit and prove to be my disciples.
Yeah.
So what I got out of that by getting and reading the end of this is, okay, cool. All right. So my job is to produce fruit because that's what glorifies God, right? Because, I mean, you get down to verse 8. My Father is glorified by this. All right, here's a directive from Jesus that you produce much fruit. Okay, cool. That's what I got to do, right? But that's when, and so I never really thought about it again.
Yeah.
Right? I did my studying, whatever it was for, and I was like, cool. And so I remember when the guy came up there to preach this sermon, and in his sermon, he didn't know, but he was calling me out for how wrong I was, you know? And but when those things happen and you can't argue and you see the truth, you're like, wow, like, man, I had to, and then for him to explain what happened. And so really, when you look at this and you don't just focus on the last verse, the last verse makes sense when you look at it as a whole. And so you have this really cool picture where Jesus is saying he's the vine. And so there's got a couple different parts. One, so let's define the characters of the story.
Yeah.
Right? So Jesus is the vine, the true vine.
The true vine.
God is the gardener.
Yep.
And then it
vine
talks...
dresser is what my translation says.
Vine dresser.
Way cooler.
And then that is actually really cool, right? Even that, and we'll get to another word here in a couple of the verses. Anyways, and then we are the branches, and that specifically is talking about those who are believers in Jesus.
Yeah.
Right. Which is part of the cool illustration of how we can be grafted in, right? But anyways, and so when he goes through here, really the crux of this is verse 5. Yeah. Verse 5 succinctly helps define what is our role, right? And he says it actually a couple of times, but in verse 5, he says, I am the vine, you are the branches. The one who remains in me and I in him produces much fruit. So now there's a little definition, or there's a little caveat. It's like, yes, you are to produce much fruit, but there's only one way you can produce fruit, and that's to remain in Jesus. Or, you know, as verse 4 says, remain in me and I in you, just as a branch is unable to produce fruit by itself. So going back to your wonderful illustration earlier, if we're not connected to Jesus, we are not going to produce fruit. So is producing fruit really the most important thing? No. The most important thing is to remain with Jesus.
Yeah.
Going back to how other translations put this, I love when it uses the word abide.
Yeah.
It is such a cool word, and I did research on this word years ago, and it's really talking about this place of that, like that's your home almost, right? This is where you live. This is everything for you. And so really the most important part of our life is you can picture a grapevine, but for me, we live in North Carolina, and it's easier to picture pine trees because, I mean, that's why he used a vine, because they were everywhere.
Okay.
Anybody, even if you weren't a farmer, grapevines were everywhere. And so as soon as he used this illustration, he was using something that people would have known exactly, oh, I can picture this in my brain.
Yeah.
Right? So for me, I'm from North Carolina. I picture evergreens. They're everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And so when I picture this and I see this trunk, the vine, the main source right there, and then I see the branch connecting to that trunk, that connection right there, that's abiding.
Yeah.
That's what that's exactly where the branch and Jesus meet. The branch and the vine meets. That's what's most important. And what I've been able to learn practically in my life is that when I focus on Jesus, everything in me is I'm just focusing on him, living for him, trying to stay connected in him in everything I do, then the fruit comes natural. Mm-hmm. When I take my focus off of Jesus and I start living for myself, or I start no longer doing living for and trying to live the way that Jesus wants me to, or if I'm just losing focus, then that's when the fruit begins to fail, because I am now trying to be my own source of life and not getting my source of life from the only one who can truly give me life, and that is Jesus.
Right.
Yeah. So I think this is just an incredible picture. But you know what I love about this too?
Yeah.
Is it's also a picture of the church, because a vine connects multiple branches.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
And this is part of where when we get united, it comes from that word abide. That's why our student ministry is called United. It's from John 15. Mm-hmm. And I tell our students, I said, here's our purpose. I said, we want to be, number one, we want to be united to Jesus. So that's number one. We just talked about that.
Absolutely.
And the next is we want to be united to each other. Because if we're united to Jesus and we're united to him, then guess what? We're going to be united to all the other branches as well.
Absolutely.
And so that's the purpose statement of our ministry is unite to Jesus, unite to others.
And I feel like in uniting to Jesus, like that allows you uniting to others to be through Jesus.
Yes.
We can get, like, we as humans connect on many levels, like shared sports teams, shared
sports.
Shared interests, being from the same Hogwarts house. There, I said one that involves you.
Thank you.
And like we can connect in various ways, and that's good. Those are all good things. But connecting through Jesus looks different than that.
Yes.
I mean, even to use the Hogwarts house as a bit of a silly analogy.
No, but you're a Slytherin and I'm a Gryffindor. It shouldn't work.
It shouldn't work.
But because we have the vine, we're not connected to each other. We're connected to each other through the vine.
We're connected to each other through mutual submission to the vine.
Yeah.
Because Jesus is the one who gets to decide how we connect.
Yeah.
Jesus is the one who instructs us to prefer one another. Jesus is the one that instructs us to lay our lives down for our brothers. And so you, though a Gryffindor, I can vibe with, and I, though a Slytherin, can make crafty plans still and yet for your demise, Sean Gryffindor. Yeah, I will say this. One thing that stood out to me in reading this again, even like sitting down here, is the father's role as the vine dresser. Like elsewhere in Scripture, and I was desperately trying to Google it while you were talking a minute ago, but like Paul talks about like the vines. He builds on Jesus's vine analogy, and talks about how the father prunes the vines, and not just prunes in a sense of like, oh, you're not bearing fruit, chop.
Yeah.
Although we should talk about that. But also in a sense of like living vines that overgrow in the wrong areas need to be pruned for the good of the overall tree and for the good of and for the good of the individual health of the branch. It is hard to go through pruning. One of the things that one of the ways that I've been spending my time lately is before work I'll drive into Charlotte and I'll go to a climbing gym.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you went to a garden and you pruned stuff.
No. Dude, I live in an apartment.
Yeah.
I go into a climbing gym in Charlotte, like rock climbing. And can I tell you, the process of pruning me to be better at rock climbing looks like Ben needs to drop some weight and to be able to hold the weight that he has with his hands. Both of those things are not enjoyable for Ben Smith. It means a lot of cardio and heavy calorie restriction and a lot of hanging on my hands. God bless him. Danny Mabry and I were talking about this, and he's like, we were talking about me hanging a climbing trainer in my office for my lunchtime. Dude, you just hang until your fingers and your wrists burn out, and it's like, this is awful. I can't write anymore, you know? But that's physical pruning. Spiritual pruning, I think, can be even harder.
Absolutely.
And I see an impulse both in human nature in general and in my own self to when I encounter things that prune me, it's usually through pain. And usually my first response is anger at the vine dresser.
Yeah.
Like, God, this hurts. Ow. I don't want to do this. Like, why does it have to hurt? Didn't you promise me life and life abundantly? And he did, but that pruning is the path to get there.
Yep.
And that's hard. But we can trust our Father because though he is the vine dresser, he also knows what we need before we ask.
Yeah, it's one of the, have you ever watched videos of people making bonsai trees out of like just all kinds of different kinds of trees?
But no, I haven't.
It's really interesting because I've seen I was in a time where all these internet videos that were going on, like my TikTok or whatever, it was for some reason tons of bonsai trees. It was just because it was fascinating to me. And what you notice is you've got these people making decisions, and when they're starting to do these cuts, it does. If to me, being someone that has no idea how to make a bonsai tree or any of this stuff, it's like, why would like that looked so good? Mm-hmm. Why are you cutting that? Right. Why are you doing that? And it's relating back to what you're saying is sometimes we look at our lives and we look, it's like, God, why are you doing this to me? This was going so well. That's what we feel.
Yeah.
But we don't have the eternal perspective that God does. We're able to look in the past, and when we get through those difficult times of pruning that we don't like, that's when all of a sudden we go, aha, I now know why you were preparing me for what you did.
Yeah.
But that's only at the end. But it's during those times that sometimes we just like, God, what are you doing? Why are you doing this in my life? I really enjoyed having that in my life.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this, whatever it is, in the different situations we go through. And even as I've been preparing for my sermon for Acts this week, I'm in chapter 16, where Paul finally picks up Timothy, and they were going to head somewhere, and God's like, "No, you're not going there." Like they were going somewhere to preach the gospel,
right?
And he's like, "Nope." And then they try to go somewhere else, and he's like, "Nope. Think again." And then he ends up sending them to this other part where they go into Asia, and Asia's able to start hearing the gospel. But it's like sometimes there are good things that we want to do in life. There are good desires.
Yep.
Them going to these areas to preach the gospel and to go encourage. Objectively good. But sometimes God's going to say we need to get rid of good things in our life because he's got a better plan for us. And it's us being open and willing to listen to those things.
And better looks different for us than it does to him.
Oh, 100%.
But I mean, so that's exactly what you're talking about in verses 5 and 6, like trying to bear fruit apart from him, you can do nothing. Mm-hmm. You know, even good things can be distractions. Even us trying to do good things can actually be us making spoiled fruit. My brain kept saying frozen fruit for some reason. Even good things can morph into spoiled fruit.
Absolutely.
If we're not careful. But that's what it goes back to the abiding thing. Yeah. Like if we're walking that closely with Jesus, like his Holy Spirit speaks and he gives us specific directions.
Well, if we're trying to produce fruit on our own, guess what? That's going to be some nasty fruit.
Nasty fruit. And I think God, hear me out. I think God calls different people to produce different fruits in different seasons.
Yes. I'm tracking with you. Keep going.
And so for me to project my calling on somebody else is encouraging them to produce spoiled fruit. I'll give you an example. I have a dear friend who is a tremendously accomplished musician. Just like super duper duper good musician. He plays better than I do. He sings better than I do. He's got thousands of dollars worth of gear and guitars.
Does he have longer hair?
No, he does not.
You got that?
That's the only thing I got on him. He's really good. You want to know what he isn't?
What's that?
A worship pastor.
Oh, okay.
Dude works in finance.
Interesting.
He serves at his local church.
Yeah.
But that is it. For me to go to this guy and say, God has equipped you mightily for this task. You should be a worship pastor.
Yeah.
Is not only like kind of like that's not good. That is me trying to encourage him to produce fruit in his own strength. Because that's not the calling that God's put on him.
There you go.
Which is like crazy to think about how a good thing that sounds good can actually be the exact opposite of the thing. The kind of thing that gets pruned off and thrown in the fire.
Yeah.
I even know guys who have pursued things like that, and the Lord has not blessed them in it. Why? He didn't ask him to do it in the first place.
Yeah. And this is something that I think we've discussed a few times. And there's no better place that we should want to be than in the Lord's will.
Yeah.
Right. When we try to make things happen on our own because we have a desire, right? I'll give you the illustration that I'm going to give to my students on Wednesday night.
Spoiler alert. I guess you'll have said it already. By the time
this is that weird Inception thing that happens by recording on Monday.
This is happening both before and after Friday.
Yeah.
The once and future illustration.
So early on in ministry, before I had children, early on in ministry.
Before you had a beard?
Yeah, possibly.
Pre-beard Sean.
Possibly. I can't remember. Sidetrack. I had a beard. When I got married. And then at my honeymoon, I shaved my head and my beard.
At your honeymoon?
Yeah.
You're crazy for that.
Yeah.
How did Tiffany take that?
She did it. She buzzed my head. I grew my hair out so I could have nice early 2000s, my spiky hair and everything, and did all that. But then on the honey, we are off topic right now. Anyways, so
pursuers, are you surprised?
No, not at all. I think they like our stories.
I hope so.
Anyways, so early on, before I had kids, me and Tiffany almost became missionaries to Italy.
Yo, no way.
Yeah, dead serious.
That's crazy.
We found an organization.
Yeah.
We got accepted by that organization.
Whoa.
We were about to do the vision trip kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so once again, good goals. Good things that we were all looking forward to. And then the Lord was just like, nope, that's not what I have for you.
What did that no look like? I'm so curious.
That no, oh man, this is a long time ago to figure out the specifics of that.
Yeah, just
but
top it like 40,000 feet view.
It was a heart change.
Yeah.
Where this was, and for us, I think that there was definitely a lot of we were early in ministry.
Yeah.
I was not a full-time pastor yet. We were looking at what is the ministry God has for us.
Yeah.
And we definitely I was recent within the last 5 years of coming back from Argentina from living on the mission field for a year. So I was like, man, I missed being on the mission field in a different culture and that kind of context. So there was a lot of personal desire there. And then even landing on Italy, there was a lot of personal desires of us wanting to go just to Italy.
Yeah.
And then it ended. And so, and we were going to be doing children's ministry and youth ministry. So all this stuff was working out. And then once we got accepted by this organization, I don't even remember who the organization was, but once we got accepted by this organization, we're like, oh man, this is real. This is awesome. We started to do the plans, and then we really started to pray, and separately, we both, I think I can't remember, but I think maybe we were even scared to talk to each other about it.
Understandable.
Because separately we're like, ooh, I don't know if this is right anymore. But then I remember we finally had that conversation, and it was like, okay, the Lord is preparing us for something else. Yeah. This is not it.
Wow. I think it's the reason I ask, it's relevant for our people, just from a perspective of looking to do good, unsure of how to proceed forward. What does a no look like? But we have to be abiding in our true vine, have to be abiding in him and walking with him so that we can discern the path ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's kind for when we wander, when we stumble.
Man, it's one of the things that I love about our God so much, because we are prone to wander.
Yeah.
We are prone to fail. And our God is so incredibly loving and generous. And it's a great reminder for us because, especially for our pursuers out there, I mean, it's one of the things that I know that I do as a pastor, that Ben does as a pastor. We're honest with, letting you guys know that we're on this journey just like you guys are.
Aye.
And so when you fail, get back up, keep going. The Lord's got you.
Absolutely. Sean, with that, there's kind of one more idea I want to tease out of John 15, just to ask you. So, verse 2, every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away. And every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes so that it may make more fruit. And then verse 6, if anybody does not abide in me, he's thrown away like a branch and withers. And the branches are gathered, thrown into the fire, and burned. What do you make of that in terms of so is God saying that if we don't produce fruit, all the time that we're destined for the fire? Like, is this a fruit as evidence of salvation thing? Like, what do you see there?
No, I don't think this is one of those things where like, oh, this branch is not producing fruit. You're a Christian, but there's no fruit here. You're gone. What I view this as is even if you just go out and like trees, once again, you go out and you look up and you look at trees, you see dead branches. They stand out. And if the branch is up there, and it might be up there, but it's not connected to the tree. Now, where that illustration falls short is if it's a big branch, it once was connected to the tree. But what I see here is that if there is a branch that has not produced fruit, it has never been truly connected to the vine.
Isn't that interesting?
And so this is not a matter of losing salvation, but in our church, I think that there are people in our church that are lost.
Yeah.
And
every church.
In every church, absolutely. And I think that with that, there are people that are learning and that are growing. But I also believe, to use another illustration that Jesus uses, there's also wolves.
Yeah.
And the shepherd is going to protect the sheep from the wolves.
Absolutely. And none of those are fixed categories.
No,
not
at all.
I firmly believe that a wolf doesn't have to stay a wolf unless it wants to stay a wolf.
No.
I believe that a dead branch doesn't have to stay a dead branch unless it wants to stay a dead branch. What is it that Tim Keller said one time? That at the end of the day, there's only two kinds of people. There's the kind of people that say to God, "Thy will be done," or that God says to them in the end, "Thy will be done." Yeah. And it's not Tim Keller; it's the GOAT, C.S. Lewis. It just took me a minute to remember it.
Yeah, it's such a good quote, man.
Such a good quote. Oh man, dude, I finished The Great Divorce, the book, the C.S. Lewis book, a couple of days ago, and if you've never read The Great Divorce, it is allegory. So you got to remember he's not speaking literally about a lot of things. It's a really great window into like the human condition and what we value and what we love, particularly like the idols that we put before our lives, or put in our. Particularly the idols in our lives, the things that we put before Jesus. But that bit's for free. That's just a little side note as we end here.
I love it, man.
Okay, also, but like as we close, Friday the 21st, that's when this is going to come out if you're listening on Friday, right?
Yeah.
That's a pretty special day, right? Planning Center tells me that there's a really special day on Friday the 21st. Is that Tiffany's birthday?
Yeah. So if you're listening to this on Friday, it is my wife's birthday.
Happy heckin' birthday, Tiffany. John didn't put me up to this, but whatever.
Yeah, no, we're good. So yeah, it's her birthday. So we're actually so we're gonna be going out to eat tonight.
All right. Now, is this a surprise, or is she finding this out in real time?
No, it's like with her family.
Oh, with her.
Yeah.
Okay, so she knows. This isn't a surprise. Like, happy birthday, Tiffany. This is your present. It's not like a promposal.
No. I think she would hate that.
Man, if she doesn't even hate this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's not going to be happy, probably, that we're spending this much time. So we're just going to cut this off.
We're just going to cut this off. Pursuers, thank you guys for listening. Abide in Christ and join the Pando of your church. That's all we got to say today.
Goodbye, pandas.
Goodbye, pandas.
That's our new name! I like it! Pursuing Jesus is a ministry of Memorial Baptist Church in Norwood, North Carolina. To learn more about our church, please visit memorial4norwood.com. This is how this is going to go. Okay. This is great. Okay.
Inner peace. Inner peace.
Can we do that again?
Yes, we can.
Thank you.